Hello, this is Marianne, and for the next hour I will be reading from the August 2026 issue of the Buffalo Latino Village on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. A need for business and cultural development on the Lower West Side. This past month, members of the Lower West Side attended a follow-up meeting with the City of Buffalo's Department of Strategic Planning to report on key issues the community wants addressed. The discussion covered street and traffic lighting, housing concerns, gentrification pressures, business growth, and broader economic development, including the need for tax dollars to be allocated to support local businesses in the same way public resources are invested in the canal side. Community representatives who voiced concerns and committed to continued follow-up to ensure the neighbors' needs are met included Alex Burgos, a leading spokesperson and emerging voice on the Lower West Side. This was the young man who helped navigate a big victory for Talia Rodriguez for the Board of Education West District, Jovino Morales, business owner and author, Efraín Burgos, Niagara Street businessman, Alberto O. Capas, publisher of Latino Village, and Jack Norton, program developer at the Bell Center where the meeting was held. Next article. Loaiza, un apodo cultural que celebra la identidad latina en el Lower West Side de Buffalo, por Alberto O. Capas. El Lower West Side de Buffalo ha sido por décadas hogar de familias puertorriqueñas y latinas cuyas contribuciones culturales, sociales y artísticas han moldeado la identidad del vecindario. En ese espíritu presento un nuevo apodo cultural, Loaiza, para honrar ese legado y celebrar la diversidad de todas las comunidades latinas que viven en esta área. Loaiza es una visión cultural personal creada por mí como residente del Lower West Side y como editor del Buffalo Latino Village. No es una propuesta al gobierno, no es un cambio de nombre oficial y no pretende imponer una nueva identidad sobre la comunidad. La idea no requiere permiso, porque es simplemente una expresión cultural, una manera de reconocer y elevar la presencia latina que ha dado vida al vecindario por generaciones. El concepto sigue una tradición presente en otras comunidades latinas de los Estados Unidos. En Nueva York, los residentes del Lower West Side adoptaron el nombre Loizaida en los años 70 para afirmar su presencia cultural y fortalecer su identidad comunitaria. Loaiza lleva ese mismo espíritu, una celebración de herencia, resiliencia y pertenencia. Es importante aclarar que Loaiza no reemplaza el Lower West Side ni reemplaza el histórico Distrito San Juan. Esos nombres siguen siendo parte de la geografía y la historia de Buffalo. Loaiza simplemente añade una capa cultural, un apodo que refleja las experiencias vividas de las familias latinas. La visión es inclusiva, aunque los puertorriqueños han sido históricamente el grupo latino más numeroso en el vecindario. Loaiza abraza a los dominicanos, mexicanos, cubanos, centroamericanos, sudamericanos y todas las familias latinas que contribuyen a la vitalidad del área. Reconoce los lazos culturales que nos unen, el idioma, música, comida, tradiciones y el espíritu comunitario. La identidad de un vecindario importa. Los nombres influyen en cómo los residentes se ven a sí mismos y cómo las futuras generaciones entienden sus raíces. Loaiza ofrece una lente cultural a través de la cual la comunidad puede celebrar su pasado e imaginar su futuro. A medida que Buffalo continúa creciendo y cambiando, Loaiza nos recuerda que la identidad cultural no desaparece con el desarrollo, se fortalece con el reconocimiento. Es un tributo a quienes construyeron el vecindario y un regalo para quienes lo heredarán. Loaiza no es un reemplazo, es una celebración. Page 2. Teacher assistants in the belly of the classroom. by a classroom teacher assistant guest contributor. Inside every classroom, a world unfolds that few truly understand. To the outside observer, and even to many working within the system, the daily dynamics of our schools appear to stem from student behavior, family culture, or interpersonal challenges. But the deeper truth is harder to confront. The system itself is the driving force behind much of the dysfunction. It is a structure detached from the policies it enforces, detached from the teaching it claims to support, and detached from the educational outcomes it promises. Real educational credentials are earned in the belly of the classroom, not in lecture halls, where theories about public schooling are neatly packed and delivered. Those theories evaporate the moment one steps into a real classroom. There, the child becomes often collateral damage, consumed by an educational bureaucracy that obstructs authentic teaching and disrupts the natural harmony between educator and student. Among the most overlooked figures in this reality are teacher assistants. Their expertise is rarely certified by institutions, yet it is forged through lived experience. Many have journeyed through the public school system as students themselves. Many have navigated it as parents, fighting to secure a proper education for their children. Others have served as youth counselors, guiding young people through challenges that schools often fail to address. And ultimately, they stand inside the classroom as the connective tissue between teacher, student, and system. Teacher assistants understand the classroom in ways policymakers rarely do. They witness the daily friction between bureaucracy and learning. They see how communication, sometimes a single conversation, can alter the trajectory of a child. They understand the teacher's struggle, the student's needs, and the system's blind spots. They see how preventable failures become statistics, how policies collapse upon contact with reality, and how the machinery of education continues producing outcomes that harm every children it claims to serve. If we were serious about addressing what is broken in education, we must listen to the voices of those who work at its core. Teacher assistants are not experts because an institution certified them. They are experts because life did. Their perspective is shaped by experience across every angle that matters: the child's, parents, educators, and the systems. Recognizing the urgency of this conversation, the Buffalo Latino Village now offers a dedicated speaker and consultant through its speakers program to help schools, parent groups, and community organizations confront these issues directly. This resource is designed to eliminate the real dynamics inside classrooms, expose the systematic barriers that hinder learning, and provide practical guidance on strengthening the vital role of teacher assistants, the unseen backbone of education. For inquiries or to schedule a speaker about this topic, please send an email to latinovillage1@gmail.com. Jovino Morales, Building Communities Inspiring Dreams by Alberto O. Capas. For years, Jovino Morales has been one of Buffalo's most respected Puerto Rican Latino community leaders, an entrepreneur, housing advocate, educator, motivational speaker, and now an author. Morales has dedicated his life to expanding opportunities through education, economic development, and community service. As founder and president of Jovino Property and Financial Management Corporation, Morales built a successful career in real estate and property management while promoting neighborhood revitalization and affordable housing. Throughout his career, he has viewed housing not simply as buildings, but as the foundation upon which strong families and thriving communities are built. His commitment to education has been equally significant. Morales has mentored aspiring entrepreneurs, supported minority business development, and consistently encouraged young people to pursue higher education and lifelong learning. His message has remained remarkably consistent. Education, disciplines, perseverance, and self-belief are the keys to personal success and stronger communities. That philosophy is reflected in his presentations: the power of self-empowerment, the power to believe, and the power of education, and in his latest paperback publication, Jovino Morales, Comics and the Bills, A Dream. While his work often focuses on motivation, leadership, and personal growth, his book, Comics and the Bills, A Dream, showcases another side of Morales' creativity. The novel presents a heartfelt, community-centered mystery that blends humor, family relationships, and Buffalo pride into an engaging story rooted in everyday life. The book is available online at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also get your personal signed copy by passing by his place of business, El Encanto Restaurant, located on Virginia Street in Loaiza. 10% of the book's proceeds will be donated to the Taino Senior Center located on Busty Avenue. This was a summary of the article. Page 3, The Wealth of My Ancestors by Eri Alvarado. As a little girl, I remember being long-limbed and bulging joints. I remember that everywhere I wanted to go, I always ran and at full speed. I would fall and I would bounce up and keep running. My legs were always full of scars and wounds, and it never stopped me. My grandmother and great-grandmother lived about 3 houses apart, but both houses had steep hills one had to go down. I would run full speed down my grandmother's hill and into her home, and if she was not there, I knew she was playing dominoes with her sisters, her brother, and her mother. So I would run full speed across to my great-grandmother's house and down that hill that always led straight into her home. I would watch their faces as they would simultaneously be overjoyed at seeing me and horrified in fear that I would break my neck at the speed I always ran. To this day, I cannot go down that hill without running into what used to be my great-grandmother's house, with the door always open unless she wasn't home. My great-aunt lives there now, and the feeling is the same as when my great-grandmother was there, since I used to spend a lot of time at my great-aunt's house as well. Being born poor in material possessions makes a person creative, ingenious, self-sufficient, and teaches a wisdom financial wealth never could. I have been so lucky to be truly wealthy, so luxuriously rich in the things that truly matter: family, wisdom, education, love, nourishment of the soul and the spirit, growing up in nature, learning from it, worshiping it, respecting it, loving it. I was so lucky to be my great-grandmother's pest and my grandmother's shadow. I learned so much from them. I became so much like them. I am who I am because of them, and they are so beautifully alive through me. There are days when I feel I have failed them, and other days I feel their spirit letting me know how very proud they are. My memories of childhood are of the greatest riches. My greatest wealth was family. My wealth was the wisdom of my ancestors, not only being passed through my DNA, but also through the teachings of my elders. It was the wealth of knowing my roots, of knowing my land, of knowing my ancestry, of knowing my people, of always knowing where I come from. My wealth was the soil beneath my feet and the red dirt that paints the skin a golden hue and nourishes the fruits that grew around me. My riches were the trees that spoke their language gently into my spirit and raised me within their branches. My wealth was the animals who were my loving playmates and unknowingly my delicious nourishment. My wealth was in the teachings of my elders to respect nature around me, to love the earth beneath me, and to give thanks for the sky above me. My wealth is a culture passed through the teachings of our people and carried in my blood. My wealth is carrying Dominican culture in my blood, bones, mind, soul, spirit, and heart. My wealth is love for my culture. Conciencia, compromiso y justicia social frente a la amenaza del bullying por Angélica Aquino. La conciencia y el compromiso de justicia social son valores fundamentales de todos los que sirven en el ejercicio del derecho pro interés público. Los ideales de unidad y justicia social a veces se ven acechados y afectados por el ego y el bullying, llenos del monstruo del ego en las alas de la envidia y el celo profesional. Levanto la voz y les dedico esta reflexión a todos los que se han visto afectados por el bullying. Es triste observar cómo el bullying profesional se presenta en las salas de trabajo y en las colaboraciones en el sector de interés público bajo la máscara de aseveraciones y jergas burlonas. No todos los que dicen trabajar por el bienestar público tienen la vocación, la conciencia y el compromiso. Como en todo, hay muchos que llegan por la oportunidad de promoverse como libertadores de la clase pobre y los vulnerables, explotando grietas en el sistema de becas y apoyo fiscal a programas de orientación legal a los sectores vulnerables en nuestras diversas comunidades. Entiendo que es parte de la experiencia humana que nos toca a todos, que nuestra experiencia humana es el factor en común. Somos seres espirituales teniendo una experiencia humana con altos y bajos, con ideales y con fallas de espíritu y del alma. Nadie es perfecto, solo el universo. Por lo que sí hay que levantar es por el culto a la personalidad y por las expresiones de bullying enmascaradas por comentarios clasistas, racistas e inhumanos. Los comentarios y los sobrenombres a defensores y representantes legales de los vulnerables por los mismos miembros de la institución es deplorable, inhumano y una bajeza moral. Repito, no todos los que laboran en el sector pro interés público lo hacen por un llamado. Es iluso pensar que es así. Entiendo que es válida la necesidad de entrenar a nuevos contribuidores y líderes, pero por entrenarlos y encaminarlos no podemos aceptar su bullying, su falta de respeto y profesionalidad hacia colegas y la justicia social. Parte del compromiso es levantar la voz y educarnos el uno al otro sin aceptar la polarización que nos afecta a todos nacionalmente y mundialmente. El bullying no es aceptable, no es bienvenido y es tóxico. El bullying en el trabajo es accionable ya que es una conducta intencional y premeditada para deshumanizar y perturbar la contribución de una persona o de un colectivo por parte de individuos o grupos. En una sociedad tan polarizada es primordial levantar la voz, crear conciencia y enviar el mensaje claro a cada uno de los colegas burlones, irrespetuosos y pasivos agresivos. Su bullying no es aceptable y es accionable. Cada una de sus acciones se convierten en un asalto inhumano y brutal a la misión de abogar y defender a los más vulnerables. No es justo, no es aceptable y no es una conducta bienvenida. A los directores de los centros de acción legal y comunitaria, entrenen a su personal y establezcan pausas sostenibles de conducta. De no ser así, ustedes son tan responsables del bullying deshumanizante e irrespetuoso de sus subalternos. Es una distracción al duro y noble trabajo de los que sí se respetan a sí mismos y al sector pro bienestar público. Dile no al bullying. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the Buffalo Latino Village on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Un momento justo por la paz. Civil Resistance Responses to Government-Sponsored Violence by Victoria Ross. Government-sponsored violence is nothing new. Civil resistance is one name for efforts to get the government to follow the law. Murder is against the law. Racism is against the law. The 14th Amendment says people shall not be denied due possession of law, nor equal protection of the laws. The WNY Peace Center remains steadfast in confronting the violence imposed on our communities by those who, as Bob Dylan once observed, carry a license to kill. Our mission is to expose these harms, end them, and strengthen solidarity rooted in genuine community well-being. Keep an eye for our new civil resistance workshops recently offered to our dear allies at Open Buffalo and soon be available to the wider community. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has been responsible for illegal, immoral, and outrageous violence. As WNYPC Executive Director Stephanie Mejia states, the murders of innocent people at the hands of DHS are unacceptable, despite the normalization of such brutality. The WNYPC urged people to unite against the illegal, unethical persecution of immigrant communities and their families, and calls for the abolishment of the current DHS administration that is destroying the country, from the inside out. Buffalo stood in collaboration with the Evict ICE 250 Delaware-led Justice for Lorenzo and Johan Vigil and the March on the July the 25th National Day of Action and Remembrance. The collective power was undeniable. Civil resistance can be in large groups via marches, rallies, protests, general strikes, work slowdowns, and more. Buffalo United Coalition, BUC, is our coalition in Buffalo, Western New York, to plan larger responses, bringing as many as 10,000 out in the streets. The WNYPC joins in planning and trains and organizes peacekeeping and medical first aid for these events. Join us Saturday, August 8th at MLK Park, Shelter 2, from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. for barbecue, community building, and tabling. Civil resistance can also be through small, close-knit groups working together to keep each other safe. The WNYPC is proud to work with Buffalo Immigrant and Refugee Defense, BIRD, and Buffalo Rapid Response Network, BRRN, in increasing community preparedness and cohesion. Please join either or both of those important groups. Call 716-222-2190 to report DHS sighting, given salute, size, number of officers, activity, what are they doing, location, uniforms, any information important to these sightings. Please join us too in being part of the Evict ICE 250 Delaware campaign with vigils on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. in front of 250 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. There's good company, plenty of signs, music, and the joy of knowing you are publicizing an important initiative to get Uniland Development not to renew ICE's lease in March 2027. You can help us and Partnership for the Public Good PPG by encouraging your Common Council members to support a resolution cementing Mayor Ryan's executive order telling city employees not to cooperate with DHS except as legally required and ensuring serious consequences for doing so. The holding center is yet another purveyor of government violence. ECHC deaths are now 1 every 4 months under Sheriff Garcia, even worse than the 1 every 6 months under Sheriff Howard. WNYPC works with Yale's Justice Network, Voice, and others for reform and abolition. We also support LOLA, Liberation for One, Liberation for All, whose campaign to stop our police department from turning the former Mad urban community center into a firing range has included filing a lawsuit to stop this traumatizing plan. We have a more powerful force, as we keep emphasizing in this column, people power and truth and love. Si se puede juntos. Next article, Luz Vélez, A Voice for Community and Justice, Service, Compassion and Community Activism by Alberto O. Capas. Some heroes do not wear capes, hold elected office, or seek recognition. They quietly dedicate their lives to serving others, lifting their neighbors, and fighting for justice. One such hero is Luz Vélez, a proud Puerto Rican woman whose decades of community service have made her one of Buffalo's West Side treasures. Luz came to Buffalo from Long Island in 1980 to attend Buffalo State College, where she earned her degree in social work. Like many Puerto Ricans who arrived in Buffalo seeking opportunity, she fell in love with the city and decided to make it her permanent home. She raised her family here, purchased a home on the West Side, and devoted herself to helping others. Life was not always easy. As a single mother working for low wages, Luz faced many of the same struggles experienced by countless families in our community. Years of hard work took a toll on her health, eventually forcing her into medical retirement in 2006. Yet, even during her own personal hardships, she never stopped thinking about others. A turning point came when Luz became involved with Push Buffalo, where she found a new purpose and a powerful voice. What began as an effort to improve the conditions of her own home soon evolved into a mission to improve the lives of her entire community. Through Push, Luz became one of the organization's strongest grassroots leaders and advocates. She has spoken passionately about affordable housing, environmental justice, renewable energy, and the importance of protecting low-income residents from displacement and gentrification. She understands that housing is more than just a roof over one's head. It is about dignity, security, and preserving community. Luz also helped establish Push Silver, a program dedicated to advocating for low-income residents aged 55 and older. She recognized that seniors often struggle in silence and deserve a strong voice fighting for their needs and quality of life. Those who know Luz speak not only of her activism but of her kindness and generosity. Community members remember her famous Puerto Rican rice and beans and homemade flan, often shared with friends and fellow organizers. She is known for encouraging others, leaving words of support, and reminding people that they are not alone in their struggles. In every community, there are individuals whose contributions rarely make headlines, yet their work changes lives every day. Luz Vélez is one of those extraordinary people. She has dedicated her life to helping others, standing up for the poor, the elderly, and the forgotten. Her compassion, resilience, and unwavering commitment to social justice have made our community stronger and more humane. She represents the very best of Buffalo's Latino community and is truly one of our unsung heroes. In an era when many seek the spotlight, Luz Vélez has chosen a different path, the path of service. She has become a cheerleader for her community, a mentor, and an example of resilience and compassion. Her story reminds us that ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things when they refuse to give up on their neighbors or themselves. The Latino community of Buffalo has produced many unsung heroes. Luz Vélez stands among them, a woman whose life demonstrates that true leadership is measured not by titles or wealth, but by one's commitment to helping others. For her dedication, perseverance, and unwavering love for her community, Buffalo Latino Village proudly recognizes Luz Velez as one of our unsung heroes of Buffalo's West Side. Real health care begins long before illness. Prevention must be the priority, by Virginia McIntyre. A whole-person approach to care ensures that your physical, mental, and emotional well-being are all taken into account. By being proactive, you can prevent chronic diseases, improve your quality of life, and stay ahead of potential health concerns. Here's how you can take charge of your well-being today. Schedule your annual physical. One of the most effective ways to stay on top of your health is by scheduling a yearly wellness exam. These visits allow your provider to assess your overall health, identify early warning signs, and offer personalized recommendations to keep you feeling your best. With the growing availability of telemedicine and mobile health care services, staying proactive has never been more convenient. Stay up to date on screenings and vaccinations. Routine screenings such as cholesterol checks, mammograms, colonoscopies, and blood pressure monitoring can detect health issues early when they are most treatable. Early detection combined with healthy lifestyle choices plays a crucial role in preventing chronic disease. Vaccinations, including flu and pneumonia shots, are also essentials for protecting against serious illnesses. Your provider can guide you on which screenings and vaccines are appropriate based on your age, medical history, and risk factors. Make lifestyle changes for long-term health. Small, consistent changes in your daily habits can lead to significant improvements over time. Focus on nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management. Prioritize mental and emotional well-being. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. If you are feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed, reach out for support. Seeking help is a sign of strength and an essential part of whole person wellness. Build a strong relationship with your healthcare provider. Having a trusted provider who understands your medical history and health goals can make a meaningful difference in your long-term well-being. Act today. Your health is your most valuable asset. By taking a proactive approach, you can live a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. This was a summary of the article. Page 5. The Courage to Break the Silence. Meet Yari Ortiz by Talia Rodriguez. There's a culture of silence that ends with us. For many Latino families, the phrase challenges a belief passed down through generations. That silence often comes from a place of love, a desire to protect family, preserve dignity, and keep loved ones safe. But when it comes to sexual assault, silence can also leave survivors carrying pain they were never meant to carry alone. For Yari Ortiz, this month's Latina Her Story, breaking that silence is more than a professional responsibility. It reflects who she is, where she comes from, and the community values that shaped her. As the SAFE, Sexual Assault Forensic Examiner Coordinator at Crisis Services, Ortiz works alongside specially trained sexual assault nurse examiners who provide compassionate, trauma-informed care to survivors. While SAINS, the sexual assault nurse examiners, deliver medical care and collect forensic evidence, Ortiz strengthens the program that supports them, coordinating training, maintaining partnerships with hospitals, law enforcement, community organizations, and state agencies, and ensuring survivors are met with dignity, compassion, and respect. Her calling to serve others began long before she entered this field. Ortiz's roots are deeply connected to Buffalo's West Side, a community known for its resilience, diversity, and strong sense of family. She often recalls Sundays spent bouncing around the back seat of the church van with her father, picking up neighbors so they could attend service together. Those memories taught her an important lesson. Community means showing up for people. That lesson continues to guide her today. The strength, compassion, and determination that define Ortiz's work reflect the character of the neighborhood that raised her, a place where helping others is not just something you do, but part of who you are. As a Latina, Ortiz understands the cultural challenges that can make it difficult for survivors to come forward. Fear of bringing shame to the family, language barriers, concerns about being believed, and the belief that problems should remain private often prevent survivors from seeking support. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 1 in 3 Latina women in the United States experiences contact sexual violence in her lifetime. Yet sexual assault remains one of the most underreported crimes, leaving many survivors to live with their experiences in silence. History has shown that speaking truth requires courage. Latina leaders like Dolores Huerta built movements by challenging injustice, even when doing so came with personal sacrifice and risk. Their legacy reminds us that progress has always depended on people willing to stand up when staying quiet would have been easier. Survivors take the same risk when they share their stories. They risk being questioned, judged, losing relationships, facing family conflict, or not being believed. Choosing to speak is an act of courage, and every survivor deserves a community prepared to listen. Through the SAFE program, Ortiz works to ensure survivors have choices. They are heard without judgment, supported without pressure, and reminded that their healing belongs to them. Whether they choose to report, receive medical care, or simply have someone listen, survivors deserve to have their voices respected. Outside her professional role, Ortiz is a proud single mother of 2 sons, Antonio Jr. and Elijah. She has spent years cheering from baseball fields, football sidelines, basketball courts, wrestling mats, soccer games, and band performances. At the West Side Little League, she is known lovingly as a team mom, volunteer, and titi, a reflection of the family connections she has built beyond her own home. Whether she is advocating for survivors or encouraging young athletes, Ortiz carries the same message. People thrive when they feel supported, valued, and believed. Changing a culture does not happen overnight. It happens through conversations, compassion, and communities willing to stand together. Because protecting our culture does not mean protecting silence. It means protecting each other, and that is where the courage to break the silence begins. Another year of the Grace Pole mission accomplished. Another year, another Grace Pole event marking the 55th anniversary of this vibrant tradition celebrated this past month at the Pucho Olivencia Community Center. This year's celebration, held from July the 12th through July the 14th, brought together a lively mix of music, food, and community pride, with spectators lining the grounds to witness teams strategize, climb, slip, and try again. A ritual that always draws laughter and admiration. What began as a neighborhood gathering has grown into a cultural touchstone, drawing families, friends, and visitors who come to cheer, compete, and reconnect. The Grease Pole Festival is not unique to Buffalo. It's a tradition embraced in many countries around the world, each adding its own flavor to the challenge. In Buffalo, it has become a symbol of resilience, pride, and enduring spirit of Puerto Rican and Latino heritage. The Puerto Rican Parade in Loaiza, Lower West Side. As the excitement of the Grease Pole Festival settles, the community now moves on to their second big event of the year, the annual Puerto Rican and Hispanic Day Parade of Western New York, taking place on Saturday, August the 15th, 2026. It begins at noon, marching from Niagara Square down Avenida San Juan, or Niagara Street, and continues with food, entertainment, and a community concert back at Niagara Square. Over the years, the parade has grown into a display of pride with local organizations, cultural groups, musicians, dancers, and elected officials joining the procession to honor the traditions of the community. It should be noted that the first official and annual Buffalo Puerto Rican Parade took place during the mid-1970s, which took place on Virginia Street from Edward to Prospect. The parade was created by the Puerto Rican Chicano Committee with the support and participation of the Catholic Church, led by the late Reverend Antonio Rodríguez. Page 6. El arte también construye comunidad, por Dianís Román Rodríguez. Cuando pensamos en el arte, muchas veces imaginamos una pintura, una escultura o una artesanía. Pero con el tiempo he descubierto que el arte también tiene el poder de construir comunidad. Cada taller, festival, actividad cultural y espacio donde las familias se reúnen para crear se convierte en una oportunidad para compartir nuestra historia y fortalecer nuestras raíces. A través de Artesanía Boricua Familiar he tenido el privilegio de conocer personas que valoran nuestra cultura y desean que las nuevas generaciones también la conozcan. Ese ha sido el motor de nuestros proyectos: crear experiencias que inspiren, eduquen y mantengan viva nuestra identidad puertorriqueña. Este verano, una vez más, tuvimos el honor de colaborar como voluntarios junto a Albatey en las actividades de arte de Areito, un programa educativo y gratuito que ya celebra 5 años llevando cultura, historia y creatividad a nuestros niños y familias. Ver a los niños pintar, crear y hacer preguntas sobre sus raíces nos recuerda que cada actividad es una semilla para el futuro. Ese mismo propósito nos impulsa a seguir desarrollando nuevos proyectos, como nuestro libro educativo para colorear inspirado en la cultura taína y futuros juegos y materiales educativos que ayuden a los niños a aprender sobre Puerto Rico de una manera divertida y significativa. Pero conservar nuestra cultura no es la responsabilidad de una sola organización, de un artista o de un artesano, es tarea de todos. Cada vez que asistimos a un evento cultural, apoyamos a un artista local, visitamos una exposición, llevamos a nuestros hijos a un taller o simplemente compartimos nuestras tradiciones en familias, estamos contribuyendo a preservar un legado que no queremos perder. Los invito a ser parte de ese esfuerzo. Participen, apoyen y compartan. Nuestra cultura sigue viva gracias a las personas que deciden mantenerla presente, porque el arte no solo crea obras, también crea comunidad. Artesanía Boricua Familiar expands cultural arts programming in Western New York. Artesanía Boricua Familiar, a Puerto Rican family-owned cultural arts business founded by Dianís Román and her husband Wilfredo Román, is proud to announce the expansion of its educational and community programming throughout Western New York. Based in Buffalo, the organization is dedicated to preserving, celebrating, and sharing Puerto Rican culture through handcrafted artwork, interactive workshops, and creative learning experiences. Organizations interested in scheduling a workshop, planning a cultural event, or customizing a program are encouraged to reach out for more information. The contact information is Artesanía Boricua Familiar, 298 Northampton Street, Buffalo, New York, 14208, 398-6747 is their phone number, and their email is artesaniaboricuafamiliar@gmail.com. This was a summary of the article. There are several announcements on page 7. Applications are now open for NFTA Transit Police. Application deadline is on August 28th. M&T Bank presents Downtown Country Market. The season is open and it will be held from June to October 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Fountain Plaza, downtown Buffalo, weekly on Thursdays. There will be a Familia Fun Day at the Martin House on September the 12th, 2026 from 12 to 3 p.m. Celebrate Latino art, culture, food, and heritage at this free family event. Learn more at martinhouse.org. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Buffalo Latino Village on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Page 8. Sharing My Experience with Buffalo, The Power of Storytelling by Manuel Hernandez. In 2011, I traveled to Milwaukee, Wisconsin as a spotlight speaker at a conference on Latino education, invited by Dr. Tony Baez, a foremost scholar in bilingual education. At the time, I was honored. I shared my work, I told stories. I returned home grateful for the opportunity, but unaware that mentorship often unfolds in seasons, not moments. 7 years later, in 2018, our paths crossed again. Hurricane Maria had devastated Puerto Rico. Families were leaving the island in historic numbers, relocating to Central Florida with hope on the one hand and uncertainty in the other. The federal government was allocating millions of dollars to support the education of newly arrived migrant students. It was a pivotal moment, politically, socially, and educationally. Dr. Baez was conducting research for a major nonprofit think tank in Washington, D.C., examining how those federal funds were being used. At the same time, I had quietly built an after-school program inside a local high school. I had created an international space for disadvantaged youth, many of them newly arrived, navigating language barriers, trauma, and profound identity shifts. By then, our students had already published 2 collections of memoirs, and we were on the verge of transforming their personal stories into award-winning scholarship essays. A mutual acquaintance reconnected us. When he called, it wasn't casual, it was purposeful. Mentorship often is. As we spoke, I shared what had become the foundation of my work, the power of storytelling. I explained how storytelling was unlocking academic breakthroughs among teenagers who had too often been defined by their deficits rather than their potential. Narrative gave them voice, ownership, and agency. When students learn to tell their stories, they begin to rewrite them. He listened carefully. Then he did what true mentors do. He sharpened my thinking. He asked for data. He shared research. He connected my lived experience to established scholarly frameworks. He helped me articulate what I was witnessing in language and policymakers, researchers and funders could understand. He didn't change my work. He strengthened it. He didn't take ownership of the vision. Instead, he built a bridge, and I walked across it. Soon afterward, he included our program in his report to the Washington, D.C. think tank. What began as an after-school initiative grounded in narrative, trust, and student voice was now being recognized as an innovative model that was helping students redefine their college and career pathways. that recognition mattered. It was more than validation, it created credibility, visibility, and a foundation for sustainability. Mentorship is not about the spotlight, it is about scaffolding. It is the quiet architecture behind someone else's breakthrough. It is the bridge between grassroots innovation and institutional recognition. Dr. Baez reminded me that storytelling is not only therapeutic or motivational, it is strategic. Stories, when thoughtfully framed, influence funding decisions. Page 9. The need for WNBA team in Buffalo, New York. Just ask Anna, Leia, parents, and company. Article and photos credit Bobby Rodriguez, edited by Buffalo Latino Village. Buffalo's growing girls basketball community shows why expanding opportunities for young female athletes is not just beneficial, it's essential. Two young Latina players, Anna and Leia, demonstrate how discipline, confidence, and leadership are built on the court and carried into every part of life. Their journeys reflect a larger truth about youth development and the future of women's sports in Western New York. Anna, 12-year-old and already all in. Anna turned 12 in June and has already spent 2 years competing with Full Court Hoops AAU travel program. Her ball handling is sharp, her defense relentless, and her commitment unmistakable. This summer, she completed back-to-back residential basketball camps, one at Houghton College and another at Hilbert College. Living in dorms, training with college-level coaches, and competing against top regional talent has strengthened her confidence and expanded her world. If there is a camp, clinic, or skills session available, Anna is there. Her passion is matched by a tireless work ethic and a growing love for the game. Leia, 10 years old and playing up. Leia also celebrated her birthday in June, turning 10. Despite her age, she already has 2 years of AAU experience. Last year, while still in 3rd grade, she earned a spot on a team of older players, a rare achievement that speaks to her maturity and skill. Her Full Court Hoops Force team has been dominant this season, 18 wins in 26 games, 7 championship appearances in 8 tournaments, 3 tournament titles. Leia also led her school's 3rd and 4th grade team in scoring, helping secure a school championship. She attends every camp, clinic, and recreation league she can, showing advanced leadership by directing plays, encouraging teammates, and stepping up in pressure moments. Why their stories matter? Research shows a powerful connection between youth sports and long-term professional success. 94% of women in C-suite leadership roles played a competitive sports growing up. The reason is clear. Sports build resilience, teamwork, strategic thinking, and the ability to perform under pressure. Anna and Leia represent this pipeline of potential. Their discipline and willingness to take on challenges highlight why Buffalo must continue expanding girls' basketball programs, training opportunities, and competitive pathways. These athletes are not just playing, they are building futures. Community responsibility. Supporting girls in youth sports is more than encouragement, it is an investment in leadership, confidence, and opportunity. Buffalo has the potential to develop not only strong athletes, but strong leaders across every field. Anna and Leah thrive because their families, coaches, and community show up for them. Their stories remind us of what becomes possible when support systems are strong. Buffalo Latino Village proudly highlights their achievements as part of a broader call. Let's continue creating spaces where girls can compete, grow, and lead. Parents play a crucial role, and so does the city. Reach out to your legislators and make your voice heard. Buffalo deserves a WNBA team. Just ask Anna and Leah. They are already dreaming big. And they are not alone. Across Buffalo, other young people are dreaming just as boldly, awaiting for a platform that recognizes their talent, voice, and future. Let's open these pages to them too, so every child who dares to dream can see themselves reflected in a community that believes in their rise. Write to us at latinovillage1@gmail.com. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 2026 issue of the Buffalo Latino Village. Your reader has been Marianne. Thank you for listening.